Hark! You know how for the last 2 videos now I've said at the end that I'm doing a vlog on the problems with Pascal's wager? Well, I spent the entire month of April researching and writing that vlog because it's gonna be the longest one I've ever done, like maybe 30 minutes. I finally finished writing it last week, and the script is the equivalent in length of a 19-page essay if you put it in MLA format. And I don't want you to be left wondering what's up with me because I haven't uploaded in a full month since I'm working on this Pascal vlog. So I'm putting that vlog off for a while to make it good, and in the meantime, I'm giving you this video about the history of fried chicken. Fried chicken is my favorite food in the entire world, and it's been that way since I was a little kid. I've got pictures of fried chicken on the walls of my room, 2 of each piece. My lock screen on my phone is fried chicken.
In my wallet, I keep pictures of things that are very dear to me, like some of my friends, my parents and my brother, my grandparents, my significant other... Oh, never mind. And fried chicken.
To me, fried chicken is superior to all other foods, bar none, and it is at the pinnacle of my food hierarchy. So I decided to learn about its history. Chickens are traditionally thought to be descended from the red jungle fowl of Southeast Asia, and they were spread throughout the ancient world thousands of years ago by merchants and traders. And so chicken as a dish, and even fried chicken as a dish, has somewhat of a unique origin story in many different places worldwide. We don't have time to cover all of them here, but the chicken that I eat here in America seems to have its origins in Scotland and West Africa. Now, originally, chickens weren't necessarily bred for food, they were bred for sport. Cockfighting was popular throughout the ancient world as early as 4000 BC, where 2 male chickens, now called gamecocks, would be placed in a pit, or a cockpit, if you will, and be forced to fight to the death. It was a gruesome blood sport for the entertainment of humans. Now, I'm going to go on a bit of an etymological tangent here, so bear with me. Cock, of course, means male bird, among other things, and it comes from the Old Norse word cocker, also meaning male bird. Now there's a different Old Norse word, cuggi, which describes a small ship, and cuggi entered the Old English language as cog, meaning small boat, which later became cogboot, meaning small boat, which changed into cockboot, and finally cockboat, again a small boat that tends to a larger ship. There is another Old Norse word, svein, which came into English as swain, and it means boy or servant. So when larger ships embarked on voyages with cockboats attached, the swains who manned those cockboats would be called coxswains, which was eventually shortened to just coxon. And yes, it is pronounced coxon, even though it is spelled coxswain. And so that word, coxon, eventually just became a word meaning the person in charge of navigating a ship. And so in the 18th century, the British Royal Navy called its navigators coxswains. And they started using the word cockpit as a slang term to describe the midshipmen's quarters, where you might expect to find a coxswain or two. It's a joking way of comparing this dark place below the decks of the ship to a literal pit, and it makes kind of a morbid pun comparing gamecocks, who fight for the amusement of their captors, to coxswains, who were some of the lower officers in a ship's hierarchy and for whom life was often tough. And later in the 20th century, when the pilot of an airplane would also of course be its navigator, or when navigators would sit up front with the pilot in the front of the craft, that front chamber on the airplane would be known as the cockpit. And so when you're scrolling on Instagram and you see that ad of Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian giving you a tour of the Millennium Falcon, and he gets to the control room and he says, "This is the cockpit," now you know where that word comes from. That was a tangent, I apologize. Seriously, I could do a whole channel just on etymology. But anyway, back to the history of fried chicken. Chickens were originally bred for combat. They were very aggressive birds. But then the Benedictine monks arrived on the scene. Benedictine monks follow the rule of Saint Benedict, who was the founder of Western Christian monasticism. A lot of the organization of the Catholic Church takes its cues from Saint Benedict. The Benedictine monks have very specific rules for fasting. And of course, fasting is when you abstain from eating, or at least abstain from eating certain foods, in order to symbolically prepare your body for repentance, kind of like the spiritual version of a juice cleanse. But in the rules of these Benedictine monks' fasts, it was not permitted to eat the meat of 4-legged animals, but chicken meat was okay. I guess that's why they call it fast food. And so they took game fowl and selectively bred them over hundreds of years to create the species of chicken that we enjoy as food across the world today. And this species is different from its ancestral jungle fowl by being non-aggressive, therefore easier to domesticate, and also having an increased ability to lay eggs, thereby increasing productivity. So we have the Benedictine monks to thank for breeding the type of chicken that we now raise in poultry farms all over the place. Now, the monks weren't big on actually frying the chicken. It was the Scottish commoners who started doing that. And it was a dish of the poor who couldn't afford more expensive meat like beef or pork. As someone of Scottish ancestry on both sides of my family, as I mentioned in the unicorn vlog, this is something I'm really proud of. Fried chicken is a part of my Scottish heritage. But there's more. Because when fried chicken came to America, that's when its history became entwined with racism. In the 19th century, in the years before slavery was abolished, many Scottish immigrants came to America and settled in the South. Many of them were landowners, and the only animals that they would allow the African people to keep for themselves were chickens. And the people from West Africa specifically had a unique recipe for fried chicken that utilized several tasty spices. So they combined these recipes with the Scottish fried chicken techniques of the slaveholders to produce what we now know as good old Southern fried chicken. So the Scottish brought the chicken, and then the West Africans actually made it taste good. So my favorite food, like so many aspects of the culture I live in and enjoy, was made possible by the dehumanization of an entire race. And I've really struggled with how to deliver this part of the vlog because I don't want to sound preachy or more woke than thou or white guilty, because literally no one wants to watch that kind of vlog from me. But you don't have to. I think my words are insufficient for this. I highly encourage you to check out comedian Mike Epps' video on fried chicken and its relationship with the African-American community. This video is amazing, and there's zero reason why you should be listening to my voice on this part of the fried chicken topic when people like Mike Epps have already covered it in a far better way than I ever could. But the history of fried chicken doesn't stop there, because fried chicken took a long time to prepare. It was by no means a fast food. Until, that is, chefs in the 20th century began to find more inventive ways of frying chicken faster. And one of the first people to do this was a man named Harlan Sanders, who called himself a colonel. In the late 30s, he took one of the newly developed pressure cookers and modified it, inventing the pressure fryer, and used it to make fried chicken quick. And his restaurant, Kentucky Fried Chicken, took his own secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices and changed fried chicken from a Sunday dinner food to an everyday food that exploded in popularity across the globe. Now, there were already ancient fried chicken recipes found in many different cultures worldwide, as I mentioned earlier, but the worldwide popularity of specifically American Southern fried chicken in fast food restaurants, not just KFC, but in many different eateries, we owe to Colonel Sanders. And then, by my reckoning, the final major development in the history of fried chicken came with the advent of genetic engineering, where geneticists would modify chicken to be so large and meaty that they can't walk properly and many die of heart attacks. And that's the majority of commercially available chicken in America right now. I mean, the ancients had cockfighting, we got GMOs. Humans are cruel, and so I hope that the next chapter in chicken history involves methods of producing chicken meat that reflect a better stewardship of this planet we share. Is it wrong to kill and eat chicken? No, that's how the animal kingdom functions, and I'm higher on the food chain. But I think that food production, just like every aspect of our lives, needs to be driven with more care for the earth and the creatures on it, and not so much by greed. So that's the HarkVlogs history of fried chicken, and also cockpits, whoops. I'm not sure what my next video will be, but I'll upload something. And meanwhile, I'll still be working on my massive vlog where I pick a bone with Blaise Pascal. And I am also doing a Q&A video, so comment with questions you want me to answer. And I will not be reading these questions until I'm filming the vlog, so that your questions can genuinely surprise me. Ask any question you want, there is no rule about what you can and cannot ask me, and feel free to ask multiple questions. And I might regret saying this, but I think I have a small enough subscriber base that I can promise to answer every single question. So ask away. In the meantime, I'm gonna finish eating. Oh, no.